Look at you guys all ready to go. I'm so proud of you.
Miss Ehrenberg!
You guys are ridiculous.
Yay!
My suggestion is you mute your mic when you're not talking, and since I'm talking, you can mute your mic. However, I'm going to run through everyone real quick to make sure everyone. Katie is on, but she's not part of this seminar, just so you guys know, okay? So she asked if she could sit in, which was perfectly fine. So don't call on Katie because she already did hers. Joe, can you talk?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so mute your mic. Maggie, you're up.
Yeah.
Okay, you can mute. Layla.
Hi.
Hi. McLean.
Hola.
Hola. Maddie Johnson.
Hi.
Maddie, email me after this because I got some questions for you about some assignments.
Okay.
Rylan, did you figure this out?
Yeah, I got my AirPods. Woo!
That helped you out.
Yay!
Jade, I don't see a microphone for you, so I don't know how it's working. So you may need to kind of adjust that, which is fine. I don't know if you can hear me. You can type in the box down here. So if you need to send a message to the group, you can do it this way. I'm going to send you guys one. So you can also send it privately. So let's say, offense, Joe is bombing this Socratic seminar and I just want to send him a message. I can do that.
Ron said, Joe, you're trash.
So I just sent Joe a private message. He can see it. Can you see it, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. Who am I waiting on? Let's see.
Is Layla here?
Layla is. Luke. I'm waiting on Luke and Cassandra. So if any of you have contact with either of those two, that'd be great to kind of text them, let them know.
Cassandra just joined.
Who did?
Cassandra's here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Cassandra should have worked. I know Luke has logged in. I've seen him log in. Cassandra, can you check your mic? And Jade, do the same thing. It's okay if you both talk at the same time.
Hello.
Hello? Okay.
Hello.
Okay, you're going to want to mute your mic when you're not talking, so that way, but it looks like everyone has a mic. We're just waiting on Luke. I'll use this time to kind of go over what this is going to look like in the next few days for you guys with the Socratic seminar. So I believe you guys got the reflection sheet. I am going to make an assignment. I haven't made it yet. I'm going to make the assignment. And then once you guys listen to the audio from yesterday, because I'm loading them both at the same time in YouTube, you will listen to the audio, take notes from what you're listening to. So that's one of the reasons why Katie's tuned in, because she's just going to take notes today and not have to listen to the audio. But you're going to hear yesterday's audio from your class. And then you're just going to kind of take notes. And if you want to say like, I really enjoyed how Layla ran the meeting or ran the seminar, whatever you want to say. I mean, it should be at least a paragraph, or it could be a couple, like I would say it should be like 10, I want to say almost 15 to 20 little bullet points. It's however you want to do it, but you're going to attach it to your reflection. So you won't submit two different assignments. It'll only be one assignment as a whole. Does that make sense? You can type yes, or you can.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You can say yes or type yes. Give me 1 second because someone's calling my phone.
Oh, crap. Oh. What do I do?
Okay. Has anyone heard from Luke? Is he on and I just didn't see it? Does anyone have Luke's contact information?
We're communicating with him right now.
Yeah, we're trying to help him.
That's fine. Thank you.
So, Ms. Ehrenberg, we should take notes during this one too, right?
You don't have to. You can, and you can put them in your notes. But I really want you, I mean, you're going to need them to do your reflection, but your notes should mainly be on the other half of the class.
Okay.
I heard that phone vibrate. Isn't that kind of crazy?
It is kind of crazy. Yeah. I got it. This is very important. I have to answer this to the president.
Oh, okay. Are there any questions about any upcoming assignments? Realize, guys, I put a short turnaround on everything because I don't want to have tons of assignments out there that are turned in late and I'm missing them. So just pay close attention to that. Some of you did not submit your Sadler scores from last week. Kind of need those, or I'm going to put them in as zeros. I created a document, and you'll notice almost all your Sadlers will start to be done that way. And I'm actually going to probably do that the rest of the year, even if we come back. It's just one less paper I have to collect. It kind of works better. I think you guys actually, most of the students I've talked to seem to like it better that way because it averages is out for you and you don't have to kind of keep going in. Are we figuring out Luke and what he's doing? Has he responded is the question.
Yeah, he's trying to figure it out right now.
Okay. Does he need directions? Because I can send him directions if he needs.
I told him to go to Canvas and click on the link and then download the app and then click on the link again.
Okay.
But
if he's doing it from his computer, that might be a problem.
yeah, I have.
Okay. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask me now while you have my attention.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Is
Correct.
Layla just going to ask the questions off the doc? And then,
Layla is probably, yeah. I mean, she can go in any order she wants. She can start with number 1. She can provide her answer and ask what you guys think about that. Does anyone else have anything to say about her point of view or her opinion? Layla, be aware of your message feature because I may message you and say, call on this person.
Okay. I don't like that.
It looks like Luke is in. Luke, can you check your mic?
Is it working?
Yep. Okay, you're good. So whenever you're not talking, just make sure you're muting. So like Rylan and Joe really struggle with muting themselves, which I will do for them. Are there any questions? I've allotted 45 minutes for this. We've used up, I mean, normal class time is 50 anyway. But this recording, like I said, will be loaded. Once I get your guys' done and I get them saved, I'll put them on a YouTube private channel so that you can go back in and listen to yesterday's. So just make sure you're paying attention to which round you're listening to, okay? All right, Layla, are you good and ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to mute my mic and then you're on.
All right. Okay. So for number 2, why do you think it is one of Magwitch's principal conditions that Pip, his nickname, always bear the name of Pip in order to receive his financial support?
I said when Pip first starts going to Miss Havisham and stuff, like that's his name that everybody knows and stuff. And that's just it's really strict and Magwitch knows him by that name. So when he visited Magwitch in the marshes and stuff, and he Magwitch figured out Pip's name and asked for it. Like, since he's a convict, everything's strict, so if one thing changed, it could totally ruin it.
Yeah, I kind of thought that it was like he wanted him to keep the name Pip because he didn't want him to change too much from like his kind self, like the little boy who like helped him with the file and the food. He wanted him to keep that kind of like how he is.
I agree because when Magwitch first met Pip, that he asked what his name was, so that's kind of from the start. That's how Magwitch identified him, and if he changes his name, then it'll be hard for Magwitch to like use him as a source of help and support.
On page 306, I found a quote that goes along with that. It says, "Noble Pip, and I've never forgotten it." I just thought that like represented this question.
For number 4, why do you think Miss Havisham manipulates and misleads Pip into thinking she is his secret benefactor? What, if anything, does she derive from this action?
I think, like, because as time went on, Pip would sacrifice more and more of his life thinking that he was meant to be with Estella. And then when Miss Havisham basically just said psych and then just knocked his life down, she got more out of it because he invested way more years into it than rather just ending it from the start.
I feel like she saw Pip as an easy target since he's lower class and he wanted to be a part of the upper class, so she kind of like decided to manipulate him because he was an easier target.
I said, like, I think Miss Havisham kind of like, it felt good to her that Pip looked up to her and stuff because she gave him money, or he thought she gave her money. So he was like looking up to her and like being real nice and kind to her, and Miss Havisham liked the way like it felt and stuff, since she was like treated so badly with Copyson and stuff.
If Pip never left like where he used to live, he never became a gentleman and he continued to work at Joe's Forge, do you think he would be like happier or unhappy with his life?
I think Pip would be unhappy because ever since Estella moved away, I think he was pretty bummed about that, and how if he was still in that same spot, he would just be with Joe. He'd know Estella was gone. He'd know he wouldn't have a chance, and he would be forever alone for the rest of his life. I don't think he'd go for Biddy.
Okay, you go.
Okay. I think he would have been happier going for like the Great Expectation, just because he like learned a lot. Even though he suffered a lot, he learned a lot, and I think he grew to be more wise, and I think he enjoyed that.
I think Pip would have been happier if he would have stayed at Joe's Forge, because the more he matured, the more he realized what he wanted, and it seemed like he wanted Biddy when he got older, and if he would have stayed there, they probably would have married.
I think he would have been unhappy because he like never would have known what it would be like to try to even have the chance with Estella. But if he stayed, he would have never gotten the chance to become a gentleman and see what it's like.
I would like to add on to Maddie's idea because Pip, I think, just wanted, I mean, he wouldn't have closure and he'd just be hunting for that for the rest of his life, and it would really eat him up.
Why do you think that Pip is so attracted to Estella even though she's like so mean and rude to him?
I think he's attracted to her because of the lifestyle that he never had, kind of. Like, he really wants to be where that is. And it shows, like, all of his, like, problems with him and how he's not a gentleman, and he wants that.
I think
he's...
Oh.
You can go.
Okay. I think he just inspires, like, to be, like in high society like Estella, and like since she's like associated with his Great Expectations, he just like finds her attractive.
I think he's so attracted to her because she was kind of like the first girl figure his age that he like had ever shown attention to him, and like he just fell in love with her from the start.
What about Biddy? Because like she definitely showed him a lot of attention in
Yeah.
the schoolhouse.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think Estella was like more of his age and like I don't maybe more attracted.
I
And, like,
think that he just wanted to be like a gentleman so bad and be like better than his common self, so he wanted to be with Estella, and Biddy was just like him, so he didn't want to be with Biddy.
yeah,
I
like
feel
her.
like he saw Biddy more of as like a teacher and like a leader to him instead of like a companion. Like, you know.
Yeah.
When Miss Havisham confesses to Pip that in adopting Estella she meant to save her from misery like my own, do you think that Miss Havisham really saved her, or like just ruined her life?
She didn't even take care of Estella. I mean, like the Miss Havisham's servants, the what were they called again? Does anyone remember what the Miss Havisham's servants were called?
They were like vultures,
Yeah, the
scavengers, or
vultures.
something.
The
Yeah.
vultures or something like that. Yeah, I feel like the vultures were the ones that really took care of her. I mean, if anything, I'm sure Estella could have found another family. Definitely not growing up in a richer lifestyle, but she also wouldn't. She also would have a motherly figure to look up to and follow as a role model.
Yeah, Miss Havisham probably like thought that she was doing the best for her by like teaching her to be rude and like break hearts instead of getting her heart broken just because of Miss Havisham's past. But like really, it like just hurt Estella because it made her like a rude person to everybody, and she even started to become like a mean person to Miss Havisham. When Miss Havisham sets her house on fire, do you think that she meant to like commit suicide, or an act of, or like read this accident as something else?
I think Dickens wrote it as an attempted suicide, but didn't really give us much detail to leave us wondering and kind of let us create the own scenario. I think Miss Havisham like began to feel guilty and ashamed of her manipulation towards Pip and Estella, and I think her mental state just became too much because page 432 it said, "Did I never give her love?" cried Miss Havisham, turning wildly to me. "Did I never give her burning love? From jealousy at all times and from sharp pain while she speaks. Let her call me mad, let her call me mad." And I think this was Miss Havisham's reaction when Estella confessed that she never taught her love. And I feel like at that point, Miss Havisham felt like she did no good and just kind of wanted to leave.
I agree with McLean on that one. Like in the movie, after she was burned up, she kept saying to Pip, "Forgive me." After he was mad at her before she accidentally caught herself on fire. It's different than the book on how that happened, but she was sorry for what she did to Pip in the end.
Yeah, I think she finally felt guilty of how she treated like Estella and Pip and all of them, and how they treated others and stuff. And on page 388, she said, "Take the pencil and write on." Or Pip said, "Take on the pencil and write under my name. I forgive her." Because I think he finally realized like she was guilty, and she felt bad about it.
I agree with that because one quote on 387 says that towards midnight she began to wander in her speech, and after that it gradually set in that she said innumerable times in a low solemn voice, "What have I done?" So she's going through like a lot of like emotions. So I really think that she did try to. So.
I agree with what Cassandra just said because I think that that Miss Havisham's mental state wasn't doing the best, and I think that she thought that the only solution to fix like what she did in the past was to commit suicide.
When Pip learns that Magwitch is his benefactor, like he at first is like mad and like he doesn't like that, but towards like getting to know him, he like respects him and loves him. Why do you think that his opinion changes?
I think as Pip like learns what Magwitch suffered through, he kind of like feels sorry for him and just kind of takes it on a new angle and just starts to help him out, and then they just grow together and stuff.
Yeah, I think when he learns more about like Magwitch's backstory and like what happened in his life, and him just like caring about Pip, like giving him that money for Pip to be what he wanted, it just showed Pip that somebody actually cared about him, and so he just grew to love him.
Yeah, I agree. Like, as Pip like finally realized like the gratitude that Magwitch had for him, he didn't care like about his past or where he came from.
I think he changes his opinion because when he first met Magwitch, he was super young and like he could only see the person that was in front of him. He couldn't really like see who he really was. But when he got older, he realized that and saw of the person he was actually capable of being and like why he did all of those bad things. And yeah.
I agree with that because he saw Magwitch as like a caring person, and he decided that he wanted to also care about Magwitch in the same way, the way that he was caring about him.
Question 9, in chapter 59, when Pip places Joe and Biddy's son, whose name is also Pip, on the same tombstone that opens the novel, what do you think Dickens intends to tell us with this image?
I think it like shows us that little Pip is going to follow a similar path that Pip did. And although Joe believes this is going to be a good thing because he does not see all the pain that Pip has been going through, Joe says, "We give him the name of Pip for your sake, dear old chap, and we hoped he might not grow a little bit like you, and we think he do," on page 461.
I think that Dickens is trying to tell us that life can be repetitive and that although times may change, people like don't. And I agree with Maddie on that sense.
I agree with that because if the younger Pip grows up like Pip, then he'll also face many struggles, but he'll turn out to be like a better person.
In the final chapter, Estella says to Pip, "Suffering has been stronger than all other teaching." Discuss the theme of suffering in this book, especially how it constructs Pip, Miss Havisham, and Estella. I think that suffering like constructed all of them because they all went through something in their life. Like for Estella, it was having Miss Havisham as her guardian and just teaching her like how to be towards people. And then Pip, like his parents dying and having to be raised by his sister who abuses him, and then Miss Havisham who was left at the altar.
I think Pip's struggle is like being in love with Estella, but Estella is unable to love him, and then that goes further into Miss Havisham's struggles with men and how she taught Estella how to treat men, and then yeah.
I feel like Pip was like on one side, like he was the one suffering, and so like that kind of taught him how to treat other people. And then Miss Havisham was on both sides. She like suffered when Copyson left her and stuff, or that happened, and then she also caused a lot of suffering with Estella, and so like it kind of, she got both sides of it, so she was kind of just stuck in the middle. And then with Estella, she caused a lot of suffering, so she was like tired of that and stuff and tired of hurting people, so it kind of like led her to good.
I agree because Miss Havisham, what she was going through, she also affected Estella and made Estella suffer. And Estella made Pip suffer as well.
This question isn't like one of our given questions, but if Pip never went over to Miss Havisham's house and played with Estella, do you think he would want to be a gentleman?
I don't think he would have, because he would have like no driving force to want to be a gentleman. But like, I don't think he would, because he wouldn't have a Stella to like want that for him.
I agree with that because he would have more appreciation towards him, and Estella was the one in the first place who made him ashamed of his class.
I agree with that because when Pip was younger, he hadn't really known about this other life. All he knew was about like his own life, and he seemed perfectly happy with it. But once he went to Miss Havisham's house and he saw how they lived, that's what like changed his mindset into wanting to become a gentleman.
Just like when he went over there and Estella just made him feel bad about himself, like for being common. He wanted to be better because he didn't want to be labeled as that type of person.
Wait. Maggie, you said that when he went to Miss Havisham's, that's when he knew he wanted to become a gentleman?
Well, he saw how Miss Havisham and how Estella were living and how they were acting, and he wanted to become like he wanted to be with Estella, and he thought that the only way was to become a gentleman.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Rylan, what did you like think she said?
I thought she was saying, man, Miss Havisham, like, Pip went over there for the first time. I was like, man, Miss Havisham and Estella are living this great life. Their house is amazing, which it wasn't. So that's why I first questioned it, because I misunderstood it.
Okay,
Yeah.
On question 1, the theme of expectations is illustrated by and through the various major characters in this book, like Pip. His expectations differ and similar from those of his surrogate father, Joe, Miss Havisham, Estella, and Pip's benefactor.
The theme of Great Expectations is illustrated through like various like their various expectations, like physical and mental. Physical being real expectations such as Pip inheritance from Magwitch, and mental expectations from being Pip wanting to marry Estella and become a gentleman. And like Joe wants Pip to become a blacksmith, but Pip has other ideas for himself.
Yeah, I think Pip's expectations are different for himself compared to everybody else because, like Joe and Miss Havisham and Estella, they already have their set lifestyle. Like Joe the blacksmith and then Miss Havisham and Estella already in the top class. And Pip wants to move from the bottom to the top, so his expectations are higher because he wants to be able to get there.
You guys okay?
Yeah, I'm just reading these questions.
There was just a really long pause while I was listening, so I was taking notes and didn't hear anything.
I think I went through all the questions, so is there any questions that you guys have on the book?
Actually, I just have a question of the movie and the book. Why did they change how Miss Havisham was set on fire? Why did they do that?
So remember, Ryland's asking an opinion question, more or less, because we talked a little bit about why they kind of change certain things or leave scenes out. So I'll let you guys fill in with why you think, and then I'll tell you why I think.
All right.
They might have.
Go.
I think they might have let certain things like that was in the book not in the movie because of just how like sad the book was and how it just was really hard on Pip, so they might have changed it for the movie.
Yeah, I definitely think movie audiences are definitely a big player there, so they'd probably have to alter it to the fans' liking, kind of like the Sonic movie, if you guys know that. But why would they completely change how Miss Havisham set herself on fire? Because this one was just a complete accident, but the first time she was like, I'm done with this life, and then just rolled into the fireplace.
It could be with more of the audience difference. So like with the movie, they have to make it more entertaining and stuff. So they made it more action like, in my opinion, when it accidentally set her on fire and stuff, like the candle flipped over or whatever. And so it like had more action, while in the book it just said like Pip just looked up into the window. So like with the audience difference, like the window could like describe more, while when it shows her inside in the candle, it was more action filled, so it could just appeal better to a movie audience than a book audience.
And with the audiences in the movie, I mean, no one's really gonna want to go watch a movie where someone's gonna go kill themselves. I feel like, and you don't see Miss Havisham portrayed as much as she was in the book, so you don't really get to see what she was like, and the audience may have questions, and it would lead to just them not knowing what's going on.
Okay, so I'm going to chime in here. So remember when you think about the scene that you guys read of her kind of going up in flames, and realize that what was she doing before that happened? Was she not asking Pip for forgiveness?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then she herself was not able to forgive herself all these years for holding on to the resentment and anger that she had towards Compinson. And so she's wearing this older dress that's basically rotted to her body in many ways because she never stepped outside of it. So it's almost as if it's like a self-actuation for her to realize that if Pip can forgive her, she can forgive herself. And so I know some of you kind of feel like it wasn't obviously suicide. It was just a true accident. And you kind of have to think about that would be fitting for her to actually get forgiveness from Pip and preventing him from truly being happy. And then she kind of ends her life knowing that in some ways she did get forgiveness, even if she doesn't necessarily know for a fact, but she was asking him for it, which is probably the first time she's ever stepped up and said, can I ask for forgiveness? And she doesn't ask Estella for forgiveness. She asks Pip because she knows that the person who probably was impacted the most was Pip, because she saw the love that he had for Estella. Does that kind of break it down a little bit? So in the movie, as Joe did say, we don't see a true portrait of Miss Havisham the way you do when you read it. Rylan, what do you think? You think my point of view is good?
I think your point of view is great.
All right. So is there any questions about anything at all? I've been asking, just so you guys know, we as teachers kind of have to have a daily attendance with you. So even if I post a little discussion post and it's just a quick little response, that might be what I'm going to do every day. Obviously, you guys know what you have to work on. You're working on your graphic essay. That's the only thing that you have to work on with me, other than finishing up the Socratic seminar. But at the end of the week, I'm going to post some stuff and some videos for you guys to kind of walk through, like how I walked you through how to do this for your literary analysis and start prepping for that. So you need to start thinking about what book or what novel or what short story you want to use. I know Layla asked in class, could she use The Man in the Well? And so like, if you don't have those resources, so like Layla, for whatever reason, if you threw that away or you can't access it, you just need to let me know so I can get you whatever you guys need. But since I'm not going to be necessarily meeting with you guys every day or having conversations like this every day, I do need some kind of way of making sure that you're doing what you need to do. Because you guys know most of the time our English stuff doesn't just cover one day. It's sometimes 2 days, sometimes 3 days. My brain just went blank, just like it does in class all the time. The biggest thing is for you guys just to stay on top of everything. Plan for next week, because your graphic essay is due on Monday. Plan to have a live chat like this with everyone in your class on Wednesday. So you'll need to make sure that you're available, you know, to have this, because we're going to kind of go through, I'm going to show you the different images, and then you're going to kind of do like a little gallery walk. I think some of you have done gallery walks with different things, maybe with art. So it's very similar to that. And I'll kind of send you a video of what a gallery walk is going to look like too. Are there any questions? I know I kind of talked super fast, which is not always how I talk in class, but I'm trying to get you guys out of here and not lose the recording for any reason.
I have no questions.
Thanks.
I have one question.
No, Joe, not work with a partner outside of class.
I know. No, I wasn't going to ask that.
Uh-huh.
For the graphic, if you do have a partner, would it just be like someone does the information and then someone does the art part?
I mean, I really would like you both to contribute in some way, like, meaning like not one person's just finding the quotes. Do you understand? Like, I want you to use, you know, I mean, that's a lot of work to put on one person. I mean, not saying that the artwork isn't hard. It's less about the artwork and more about the three elements that you're finding.
Yeah.
And you're not doing a peer reflect, like you're not grading your partner and they're not grading you on this, because I had to change some things for you. So, I mean, normally you would do this in class and I would be able to see what work you're each balancing out, but I can't see that. So, I mean, now if Katie Bowman's working with you, and the only reason I said this because I saw her name, but if Katie Bowman's your partner and she emails me and says, Joe basically left me hanging, then you and I are going to have a conversation, right? I mean, you know that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just using that as an example. So, I mean, it is completely up to you how you want to break that up. Why are you laughing, Joe?
Because that's funny.
Okay. Are there any other questions that anyone has on anything? I did pose this question to second period today that I met with. Do you feel like I need to kind of do a weekly check-in with some of you guys, or do you think you'll check in with me and let me know if something's going on? Or would you rather me just kind of do like a check-in on Friday? Is there anything you guys need? Because, I mean, we can be not face-to-face, and some of you, as I told you guys the other day, like I worry because some of you I can read when you're in bad moods and things. But if you feel like sending that out every Friday and it's just like a 2-question, like, what do you need? Are you good? Do you think that would be beneficial? Or you're like, no, we'll just reach out to you if we need something?
We'll just reach out to you if we need something.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys agree with Rylan, or you think Rylan's the one who has to reach out if he needs something?
I agree with Ryan.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. Well, period 2 does not agree with you. So period 4 doesn't need anything.
Because we're the best. We're smarter.
I didn't say you were smarter. I just said you're usually on top of things. However, period 2 did all of their ed puzzle assignments before you guys did.
I didn't even know we had.
I forgot about that.
I actually did mine. I did mine and nobody else did.
Please understand.
I did mine.
That grade is going to be a summative.
I got an 80.
So why did I make it a summative?
Because you knew some of the class wouldn't do it. And
No, I knew that you guys should know MLA format. Did I not?
I got it at 100.
Do we still have time to do it?
Yeah, it's still open. It's just you just didn't.
What is it? Is it under assignments?
No, Joe.
What, announcements?
Yeah, and there's a link in it and tells you what to do. Did you not create your account?
No, I didn't even I didn't
No.
because I was.
Oh my god!
I was worried about what we were doing today because it wasn't working for me.
Miss Ehrenberg,
Yes.
I did not see the link, but that's probably just my fault. So I'm gonna go look again after this, and then.
It should be in the announcement section.
Oh, I might have been looking at the assignments. Okay.
It's under announcements. So, all right. Any other questions that you guys have? No. I've already called 2 students, so don't make me have to call you guys. If you have a situation where you need to just kind of have me walk you through it like I'm talking right now, please let me know. I will use your classmate, Ashley. She really needed me to kind of walk her through some stuff, and she said by me talking like this, it was easier for her trying to email her. So I will send you a link like I did for this, but it'll only just be me and you chatting. Okay. Rylan, what are you doing?
I heard somebody like knocking on their desk.
It was my pen.
Oh.
I was taking notes. Goodness gracious. All right, if you guys have no questions, I will let you go. Make sure you're looking tonight. I'll put the link for the YouTube stuff for you guys to do. I'll actually put it in the assignment, though. It'll be an assignment, and it'll say these are the links for you to take your notes on. So it won't be in an announcement. Let me rephrase that. It'll be under the assignment. Okay.
Okay.
You guys good? You're getting done early. Sorry I kept you through lunch, Rylan. 2-minute warning.
Can I go to the bathroom?
All right. I will talk to you guys later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.